Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson. Welcome to Tea Time. This is unedited, unscripted, and today we're going to address the "this is not easy for me" statement that you'll get whenever you have a parent, a family member, someone who's close to you that's trying to grapple with your transition. Has anyone said this to you before, where you've come out and they've been struggling with pronouncing you correctly, gendering you correctly, or just using your new name? This isn't easy for me. It comes up a lot of the times when it becomes frictionful. And I heard this the most from my dad and sometimes from my mom, but my mom would never say this to me directly, only through my dad. And to be honest, going through that process, I don't know if I was the best in how I handled it. I did handle it, but I'm also a headstrong person. And so when I would get into these conversations, there would be this butting heads and, you think it's hard for you. Imagine what it's like for me right now. That's kind of like what I kept coming back to. And I think that's a fine argument to make, but I think there's a better way of addressing this that I've reflected on and wanted to give to you if you have to have this conversation about this is not easy on me. When someone says that, the first thing to do is to react with empathy rather than defensiveness, because that's going to show you that you can show them that you can give them love as well as patience. So if someone were to say that, I might be like, yeah, I can totally understand. And it's not easy for me either. Going through all of this change and wanting to support you through this process is something that I want to do. However, there are sometimes limits that I will have. And so I just want you to know that I'm totally here for you. I'm going to be patient. It's not going to be an issue. We can work on this together and we'll get through this. But, at times I might need to take a step back just to take care of myself. I hope you understand that. Something along those lines will really help you set the stage for how you're going to move through this process, that it is a process and that and you've stated that no matter what, you can get through it together, that you're going to be patient with them and you're going to help them adapt and move. My dad is 70, and so his brain just doesn't work the same way it used to, and so getting him to shift pronouns as well as shift names has taken years and years of consistency as well as support from other family members who have helped remind him, so I don't always have to be the one smacking him on the head with a ruler. But yeah, communicating that straightforward will help you create this connection with whoever you're working with. As far as what you have to do to work through this, I'd say patience. Patience is the biggest thing. Some people just don't move as fast. Some people need to process it in a different way. Some people don't prioritize it in their processing. Whatever that is, allow that time, allow that patience. Now, that is also not to say that you can't also get mad and you can't have conflict. Sometimes conflict is another way of addressing the situation. By creating conflict, you can also create that emotional impact and making that clear that this is something you care about a lot. Now, this is sort of something that you're going to need to navigate gently, because ideally, you don't make your transition a point of conflict in the relationship with the people that you're working through. Because if it becomes a point of conflict, the association with your transition and the conflict are going to be intertwined. And you really don't want that, because that's probably going to push people away and that's going to create more friction in terms of your different perspectives of what this transition is. So I always perform as much patience as possible. Occasionally, if I'm triggered by someone saying, I'm sorry, I can't gender you, like my dad saying, I can't gender you correctly because this is difficult for me saying, well, think about how hard this is for me. I don't know myself and I'm going through the shift and no one's gendering me correctly. And the one person that I need to really support me is my dad. That's you to really help me through this. I need you. I need you there for me. So conversations like that are great to have, but they should be few, that these conflict conversations can be really powerful. Have you had those ones where you've had this back and forth and then there's been a good step forward, even though you may have had to get into a row about it? I think those are great, but ideally you turn this into a patience conversation and a supportive one. Getting and recruiting other people that are supporters of you, that are also connected with this person that you come out with or that you're working with, is also going to make it easier on you and that relationship, because you don't always become the one that has to keep reminding them. Someone else can also remind them, and that kind of like collective validation through someone else is going to help validate it to them too, because you're building rapport through another person who's also validating your external existence in the world. So those are some tips that I wanted to give with you. It's a really short video today. Those are just the gems that I think I'd really want to transfer to you to get through that. And yeah, like and subscribe. Write me a comment below if this is your first time. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on tips of how to handle this or how you've handled this. And I'll see you tomorrow. As they say in Berlin, tschüss.